paragraph, the teacher first makes a distinction between the two means of salvation. If Archana has got the text and she can start the reading. Once everybody is ready.
Okay. Okay, Rangaru.
Yeah, okay. The teacher first makes a distinction
Between the two means of salvation on which in this world men can concentrate separately, the yoga of knowledge, the yoga of works, the one implying, it is usually supposed, renunciation of the other accepting works as a means of salvation. He does not yet insist strongly on any fusion of them. Begins showing that the renunciation of the Sankhya's, the physical renunciation, sannyasa, is neither the only way nor at all the better way. Nashkarmya, a calm voidness from works, is no doubt that to which the soul, the Purusha, has to attain. For it is Prakriti which does the work, and the soul has to rise above involution in the activities of the being and attain to a free serenity and poise, watching over the operations of Prakriti, but not affected by them. That and not cessation of the work of Prakriti is what is really meant by the soul's Nashkarmya. Shilpa.
Yeah. Yes. I think Archana has got a problem with the internet.
In any hello?
Yeah. Okay, we can hear you, but there is a.
Can you hear me, Ranga?
Yeah, we can hear you, but there is a break sometimes coming.
Yes, Rangada, there is some problem here. Some work is going on, so.
Anyway.
That and not cessation.
Go ahead.
Meant by the soul's Nashkarmya. Therefore, it is an error to think that by not engaging in any kind of action, this actionless state of the soul can be attained. Mere renunciation of works is not a sufficient, not even quite a proper means for salvation. Not by abstention from works does a man enjoy actionlessness. To Siddhi, the accomplishment of the aims of his self-discipline by yoga.
So there were quite a lot of interruptions with the break of the internet. But anyway, we will now look at each sentence. The teacher first makes a distinction between the two means of salvation on which in this world men can concentrate separately. The yoga of knowledge, which is Jnana Yoga, and it belongs to Sankhya, and the yoga of works, which is Karma Yoga. And one implying, as it usually supposed, the renunciation of works as an obstacle to salvation. This is the yoga of knowledge. Normally they feel that it is better to give up the works. So Srimla is putting very clearly, it is usually supposed. In other words, Srimla does not agree fully with that. Even while doing, working in the physical world with your body and your vital maybe also, but the mind has to be absolutely concentrated. In fact, that's what Srimla used to do. Srimla used to walk while concentrating. So he's doing work, okay? The body is moving. It's not that he has given up action in the physical world, but he's concentrating. In fact, he used to concentrate so much, even while walking, that he was not conscious that he was bumping into furniture. That's an event which is very interesting. And I will tell you briefly what happened. You know, as he used to go on walking. And when he's walking, he's bumping into furniture. And when he's doing that repeatedly, he's not conscious that he's bumping into furniture. Why? Because he's so deeply concentrated in his mind while walking. So he developed some sort of injury on the near the waistline, and mother was very worried. She thought it may be some skin problem. So they called Dr. Babu. Dr. Babu was a very interesting character. He was very far away in the north, but they called him because he was. They were known. They were known. And as soon as he was told to come, he immediately left everything and came. His grandson was Tarun Banerjee, who used to play the tabla in the school. So this Dr. Babu, two articles have come out in Mother India regarding this incident. It's a very interesting incident. So when he came, he saw that it was not he came to the ashram and met mother, and mother told him, Sri Aurobindo is walking, you look at him. But he didn't want to disturb Sri Aurobindo, so he looked at him from far. And Sri Aurobindo is walking up and down, absolutely not conscious at all of the surroundings. Even if he was aware of people standing nearby, he did not show any sign. He continued with his walking. So now he had a problem. The doctor had a problem. How to examine Sri Aurobindo while he's walking? I don't want to disturb him and tell him, please sit down, I want to examine you. So what he did, he started walking along with Sri Aurobindo by his side. Okay. And he saw that it was not a skin problem at all, but that he was bumping into furniture. So he told mother that it is not a skin problem, he is bumping into furniture. That's why it is getting that it is showing signs of that bumping. So then mother said, my God, what to do? Then the doctor waited, and next day mother said, you come back tomorrow and let me see what I can do. So when he went next day to mother, he saw that mother had removed most of the furniture where he was banging himself, where he was going into and banging into the furniture. So now it became very clear, and very shortly after that, within a week or so, the problem disappeared entirely. So much concentration. I'm mentioning all this because Swami is saying yoga of knowledge, the one implying, as is usually supposed, renunciation of works. Don't do any work with your body. Physical work is not necessary. But Sri Aurobindo says it is usually supposed. That means you can continue to do work and still your mind can be concentrated on the what you want to concentrate on. So that's why I'm mentioning this incident. Renunciation of works as an obstacle to salvation. The other, that's the yoga of works, karma yoga, accepting works as a means of salvation. So you accept the work, but you don't do it with an egoistic attitude. You do it as an offering to the divine. That's a karma yoga. So these are the two distinctions he's making between the two. He does not yet insist strongly on any fusion of the two. In fact, you can combine the two. You can combine in this way that while you are doing anything, you are offering it to the divine. So your mind is always on the divine, and that becomes jnana yoga. Okay, concentration on the divine. And you continue to do what you are doing, but you are offering it to the divine. So this is the way Sri Aurobindo has combined in the integral yoga. But he's saying that in the Gita, he has not yet insisted. Later on, he will fuse the two. He will make them both possible at the same time. He does not yet insist strongly on any fusion of them or any reconciliation of the thought that divides them, but begins by showing that the renunciation of the Sankhya's, the physical renunciation, sannyasa, is neither the only way nor at all the better way. So what is meant by sannyasa? In fact, the Gita has got, there are two different. One is tyaga and the other is sannyasa. Sannyasa, physically giving up works. Tyaga, cutting the link in the being within yourself of the sense of doership. I am doing. Normally, when we do something, we always feel that I am doing. Whether I'm cooking or reading or sweeping the floor, I am doing it. But a time comes when, if you are doing the karma yoga, you will feel that you are not doing, it is nature which is doing. That realization comes also in the jnana yoga also. You realize that you are not doing anything. The body-mind life is being activated by universal nature. Universal nature is making you do things, and you are the soul is only the witness, only watching what is happening. So this is the what is saying. He does not yet insist strongly on any fusion of them or on any reconciliation of the thought that divides them, but begins by showing that the renunciation of the Sankhyas, the physical renunciation, sannyasa, is neither the only way nor at all the better way. A question may come up in your mind as to, if I am doing physical work, if I am cooking, how can I think of the divine all the time? Because then my cooking will go to, it will get spoiled. I have to put salt at the right time. I have to put the masalas at the right time. I have to remove, I have to see that it's not getting burnt. So how can I think of the divine? The answer is that, like I told you about that, Ramakrishna's example. Yeah? There's a maid servant working in the house, but she has a 2-year-old baby at home. And she has to work, so she has come for work. But her mind is, the background of her mind is always on that child. This is the example given by him. So in this way, it is possible to combine both physical work and at the same time concentrating on life. But now the feeling that you are not doing the work and you are just offering the work to the divine, that is the way. So now he explains what is Naishkarmya. Naishkarmya is not doing of karma. Okay. So a calm voidness from works is no doubt that to which the soul, the Purusha, has to attain. So a calm voidness from works. You must feel that you are not doing, you are being made to do. Okay, that's what you have to realize. That is what is the real Naishkarma, not a physical giving up of works. A calm voidness from works is no doubt that to which the soul, the Purusha, has to attain. For it is Prakriti that which does the work, and the soul has to rise above involution in the activities of the being and attain to a free serenity and poise, watching over the operations of Prakriti, but not affected by them. So this is the real definition of Naishkarmya. You are not identified with your body, mind, life anymore. Your soul is up there and you are realizing that you are pure consciousness, pure soul, and the body, mind, life is going on acting. Don't think that the body, mind, life will not act. It is bound to act, because people sometimes even walk in their sleep. Okay, so action will go on. You will eat, you will sleep, you will talk to people, but your whole consciousness is outside the body and you are watching the body, mind, life doing all sorts of things. That's what is the actionless state of the soul can be attained. You are not engaging in any kind of action, and that's the actionless state of the soul that has to be got. Mere renunciation of works is not sufficient, because if you, I give you an example. Okay, I'm eating and I'm very attached to one type of food, and while I'm eating that food, my senses are enjoying and I'm identified with that. Okay, now I'm told by a yogi that I should not do that, so I give up the eating of that particular food, but the desire is still there in the mind. So what's the use? That's what Swami is saying. Mere renunciation of works is not sufficient, not even quite a proper means salvation. So you have to cut the link in the mind. Okay, the enjoyment must cease. If your mind is constantly on the divine, then what you are eating and not eating has no importance. But a time will come when that enjoyment also can be there, and it will be pure enjoyment. So that is, there are so many stages. No? So that's what he said. Mere renunciation of works is not sufficient, not even quite a proper means of salvation. Not by extension from works does a man enjoy actionlessness. So the actionlessness is really the feeling that I am not doing the work. I am calm, quiet, watching, and I am not initiating any work at all. It is being done by either Prakriti or by the Supreme Lord. He is telling me what to do and what not to do. Not by abstention from works does the man enjoy actionlessness, nor by mere renunciation of works, physical giving up. He does nor by mere renunciation does he attain to his perfection, to siddhi, the accomplishment of the aims of his self-discipline by yoga. So this is chapter 3, verse 3 and 4. So, loke yasmin dvividha nishtha pura prokta mayanaka jnana yogena sankhyanam karma yogena yogina. These are the two ways. So that's what he mentioned. So you have to combine the two, but he has not yet told him to combine the two. He is just telling him that there are two ways. Now we can read the next paragraph. So Yasmin can't read, Sunki can read, Tarika can read, Shilpa can read. So who will read? Anyone? Sunki, are you in a position to read today?
Yes, I can read.
Okay, go ahead, read. But at least.
But at least it must be one necessary means, indispensable imperative. For how, if the works of Prakriti continue, can the soul help being involved in them? How can I fight, and yet in my soul not think or feel that I, the individual, am fighting, not desire victory, nor be inwardly touched by defeat? This is the teaching of the Sankhya's, that the intelligence of the man who engages in the activities of nature is entangled in egoism, ignorance, and desire, and therefore drawn to action. On the contrary, if the intelligence draws back, then the action must cease with the cessation of desire and the ignorance. Therefore, the giving up of life and work is a necessary part of circumstance and a possible last means of the move to liberation. This operation of according to logic, it is not explained by Arjuna, but it is in his mind the turn of his subsequent shows. The teacher anticipates. He says, such renunciation, far from being indispensable, is even possible. None stands even for not doing work. Is made to do action helped by the modus prakriti, the perception of the great cosmic action and the eternal activity and cosmic energy, so much emphasized afterwards by the of the tantric shaktas, who even made the prakriti or shakti superior to purusha, is a very remarkable feature of the Gita. Although an undertone, it is still strong enough, coupled with what you might call the and devotional elements of thought, to bring in Taoism, which is so strongly in its scheme of yoga, quietistic tendencies of the old metaphysical Vedanta. Man embodied in the natural world can from action, not for a moment, not a second. It's very good here is an action. The whole universe is an act of God. Mere living, even is his
So, in this paragraph, he is not giving his philosophy at all. He is giving the philosophy of the Sankhya philosophy, that it is natural that when you think of the divine and you realize that you are not the doer, there is a tendency to give up physical works. That's what he's saying. So, but this is a Sankhya philosophy, not his, okay, not Gita's. So, we'll read each line, okay, and we'll see. But at least it must be one necessary means, indispensable, imperative. It must be one necessary means, indispensable, okay, imperative. That is so. But how, if the works of Prakriti continue, can the soul help being involved in them? How can you remove yourself from the works? That's what he's saying. How can I fight and yet in my soul not think or feel that I, the individual, am fighting, not desire victory, nor be inwardly touched by defeat? How is it possible? That's what Arjuna is asking. Okay. This is the teaching of the Sankhyas, that the intelligence of man who engages in the activities of nature is entangled in egoism. So, Sankhya says that, and this is 99% true, it's quite true also, that when you are doing work, you feel that you are doing the work. That's so obvious. And you are doing the work means egoism. You are conscious of yourself doing the work. So this is Sankhya is saying, and it is true 99% of the, maybe 90, 99, whatever. But when you are doing something, everybody feels that I am doing. So this is natural. So how to avoid that? That's what is being asked. Is entangled in nature, ignorance and desire, and therefore drawn to action. So you feel like doing action when you are in the egoistic consciousness. You take a decision, I must do this, I must do that. On the contrary, if the intelligence draws back, okay, in other words, your consciousness separates itself from body, vital and mind, then what happens? Then the action must cease with the cessation of the desire and the ignorance. Suppose you don't have any desire, what will you do? Okay. This is the first objection. Suppose I have a desire to go and buy a watch in the shop. But if I don't have the desire, why should I go? That's the answer. Okay. So if you give up desire, automatically action will stop in the world. This is what is being said by Sankhya. But now there is a slight subtlety coming in. Even if you don't have desire, you have to eat. Even if you don't have desire, you have to sleep. And eating or sleeping also is work in the physical world. So you can do work in the physical world without having desire. That's the whole point. Like it's also said that you can walk, somnambulism, what is called. So you are working, you are walking, and you are doing things in the physical world with movement, but there is no desire. So this idea that desire must necessarily be linked to action, which is propagated by the Sankhya philosophy, is not necessarily true. That is what is being pointed out by the Gita and Srimad. Okay, so on the contrary.
But Rangada,
Yeah, tell me.
but the desire for perfection, that is also not good, right?
In the beginning, yes, in the beginning. But that's right. After all, even aspiration for the divine, okay, prayer,
Yes.
is all in the beginning. It is ego-based, isn't it? So you begin with that, okay. There's a mixture, and you train your ego to slowly think that you are not doing all these things. You are being made to do. So what you're saying is absolutely correct, but it's a question of gradation. Okay, desire for the divine is less. Desire for physical objects and intentions in the physical world is what is the problem, because it gives you attachment. The problem is attachment and ego. So if you are desiring the divine, then the desire for other things becomes less and less and less. No? So you are graduating from desire to aspiration, and the desire slowly for lower things disappears. Ultimately, Sri Aurobindo says, even the desire for liberation must go. You must just give yourself without asking for anything. So there are so many grades. No? So but when you go to mother, okay, it's interesting. Okay. Say, mother, I want to go to Madras. Mother will say, if you want to go, you go. But if you say, mother, I want to go, but should I go? Then mother will say, it depends on what you want. Okay. If you're more keen on, you listen to what I have to say, then you should not go. Or she may send you for some work, whatever it is. It depends on, you have to obey her and not your own will. So there are so many gradations between the two. So it is possible to act in the physical world without desire. That's what being pointed out. So therefore, the giving up of life and works is a necessary part, an inevitable circumstance, and an indispensable last means of the movement to liberation. This is the Sankhya idea. Now, Simon is talking about the opposite. This objection of a current logic is not expressed by Arjuna, but it is in his mind, as the turn of his subsequent utterances shows. The teacher immediately anticipates. No, he says, such renunciation, far from being indispensable, is not even possible. You can't stop work, physical work, it's not possible. For none stands even for a moment not doing work. Everyone is made to do action helplessly by the modes born of Prakriti. Even if you are not doing anything and sitting in a chair, you are thinking, and that is movement and that is action. So action in the physical world can be mental thoughts, vital desires, and even physical movement. So all this is impossible to give up fully. So don't think the objection. Gita is telling Arjuna that you have to give up physical action. That's not possible. What you have to do is to give up the desire in the mind. You have to cut the link and know that you are not the doer. Then egoism will disappear, attachment will disappear, and desire will disappear. That's the way. The strong perception of the great cosmic action and the eternal activity and power of the cosmic energy, which was so much emphasized afterwards by the teaching of the Tantric Shaktas, okay, who even made Prakriti or Shakti superior to Purusha, is a very remarkable feature of the Gita. So, Gita's insistence that it is Prakriti, universal nature, which is making you do the work. This is the Gita's remarkable contributions to this. And it's true also. So, and mentioning also that the Tantrics knew that it's not possible to give up physical works. So then what to do? Okay, they will use the objection, the physical work itself as a means to get liberation. That's a Tantric method. So they go to the other extreme. They do everything that you're told not to do. Okay? But you are not doing it. You are doing, and you are developing a sense that lack of attachment. Okay? They'll do everything that you're told not to do, which are likely to give you attachment and desire. But they will do it by being separated, by being constantly worshipping the Divine Mother. Give me salvation, give me salvation. So Mother will do everything for you. That's the Tantric method. So the Jnana Yoga is the opposite of the Tantric method. Jnana Yoga insists that don't do any work. But Karma Yoga is saying, Karma Yoga as well as Tantra How can I stop work in the physical world? Even if I don't do anything physically, I'm thinking and my desires are there in the vital. So physically I may not be doing, but yet the work is going on in the physical world. There is movement, and movement is work. So that's what Swami is pointing out. And look at the language, it's very interesting. Because universe is working and you are part of the universe. If the universe is working, it's a huge, like an ocean. How can the small wave think that I am not part of the ocean? The ocean is making the wave move. Okay? So that's very interesting part. So even if you think that you are separate, you will be forced to work. The wave is being pushed to the shore by the ocean. So that's what Sridhar is pointing out. So it's very interesting, the language. Look at the language. The strong perception of the great cosmic action. The great cosmic action, and you are a small, tiny part of that universal action. And yet you think that you are acting on your own. No, you are not. It's a universal action that is doing its work in you, as in everything else. Okay? The, the power of the cosmic energy, which was so much, great cosmic action, and the eternal activity and power of the cosmic energy, which was so much emphasized afterwards by the teaching of the Tantric Shastras. So simply saying afterwards, that means Tantra came after the Gita, very obviously. Who even made Prakriti or Shakti superior to Purusha. And note interestingly also that there is an echo of that in the integral yoga also. Because what is our way? We have to going on referring to mother. You have to worship the mother and ask her to help you. You have to open to mother. She is the one who will do everything in you. Okay, so it's very similar to the tantric method. In fact, we have mentioned one day, and now we are mentioning again, the tantric method and the integral method have three things in common. Number one, no need to give up physical work and the world. Continue to be in the world. Number two, the aim of life, the spiritual aim of life is enjoyment. But enjoyment without ego, without attachment, without desire. Because these give you lower enjoyment. But what you want is the higher enjoyment, which is absolutely free of desire, free of attachment, and free of ego. That's a common thing between Tantra and the Gita. The Tantra and Sridhar's yoga. Although here an undertone, it is still strong enough, coupled with what we might call the theistic and devotional aspects of its thought. So, simply saying in the Gita, the insistence on Prakriti is an undertone. It is recognized that it is Prakriti doing the work, but it's not stressed as much as the Tantrics do. That's what is mentioned. It is still strong enough, coupled with what we might call the theistic and devotional elements. The theistic and devotional elements are the Bhakti Yoga. So you have to combine with that. Okay? Coupled with what we might call the theistic and devotional aspects, Bhakti Yoga, of elements of its thought, to bring in that activism which so strongly modifies in its scheme of yoga the quietistic tendencies of the old metaphysical Vedanta. The old metaphysical Vedanta, Jnana Yoga. Get away from works, because works will give you attachment, ego, and desire. So this is what it is, modifying the idea of the Jnana Yoga. It is modifying. In the scheme, the quietistic tendencies of the old metaphysical Vedanta. Quietistic tendency, don't do any work. That's what it means. Man embodied in a natural world cannot cease from action, not even for a moment, not for a second. How can you give up work? You can't. You will have to continue work. So rather concentrate on the giving up of desire. His very existence here is an action. The whole universe is an act of God. We are living even in movement. We will come back to the basic idea, which I tell you to keep remembering. Above in the higher hemisphere, there is a static condition. But here in the physical world at the lower end, there is constant movement. And constant movement is work. Okay? These are all equivalent words: work, movement, and working in the physical world, movement. Okay, so this is what it means. Okay, so we have done 2 paras today, and very clearly.
Rangada,
Yeah, tell me.
Rangada, could you just repeat once the 3 similarities?
Okay. One is no giving up of physical world in Tantra as well as in Gita, as well as also in integral yoga. Like the others, ascetics all disappear from the world. They don't want. They go to the cave and the forest and live there. But so they're saying, no, not necessary. We don't need to do that. So that's the first resemblance between Tantra and Gita as well as Sriyamdas Yoga. Second, enjoyment. Don't be afraid of enjoyment. There are many yogas which say, oh my God, if I go enjoy something, I'll be attached and I'll get desire. It is true. That is true. But it's not necessarily true. You can get away from it. Very difficult. When you enjoy something, attachment comes. That's natural. That's what Sankhya is saying. But we are saying that Sankhya is not actually 100% true. So enjoyment is the aim of life, but not the enjoyment with ego, attachment, and desire, but pure enjoyment of the divine, which has, you don't need anything. By itself it comes. Self-existent bliss. And the third thing is the worship of the Divine Mother. Go through not Jnana Yoga, Bhakti Yoga as in the Purusha. Concentrate on the Purusha. No. Sriyamda says, ask the mother to help you. Tantra also, they go through the Shakti aspect. They go through the Divine Mother. They worship the Divine Mother. So, you are also asked to do that. In fact, in one letter, Sriyamda says, I am a Tantric. Because it's so similar to what he method. Of course, Sriyamda does not go to the extreme limits of what the Tantra does. There is a truth in what Tantra does also. Tantrics drink, okay, eat meat, even eat human flesh. They do all these things to give in themselves the lack of repulsion for anything. Okay, they must have no hatred, no repulsion for anything. So they train themselves in this way. Of course, Sriyamda says that's not necessary. You can get rid of repulsion and desire and attraction without doing all these excessive things. But the tantrics do that. Okay. So we stop.
Rangada,
Yeah, tell me.
can I just ask one more?
Yes.
So among the three, Gita only shares the first one, not the second and the third, right?
Yeah, that's no. The Gita ultimately gives you joy also. But the Gita is not saying worship the Divine Mother.
So only three.
Yeah, it only is more Purusha oriented, not Prakriti oriented. Okay, that's right.
Okay.
Quite right. Okay. Au revoir, everybody. Have a nice
Au revoir, Rangada.
Thank you, Rangada.
Thank you,
Rangada, take
Rangada.
care, please.
Pardon?
You take care, please,
Take
Rangada.
care.
Yeah, okay.
Yes.
You saw
Good.
enough today?
Waiting
I'm
of Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
Au revoir,
okay.
Rangada. Thank you. Au revoir, Tilapur.
Thank
Shunde.
you.
And thank you all for your good wishes.